Hello, everybody. Excuse me. I was watching a program the other day, and it was about technology and where everything has gone. And it made me reflect back on some of the things that I missed out on. The company that I worked for, the guy who worked in a cubicle right beside of me, his job was to pursue the internet. In the morning when he would come into work, I would hear him fire his modem up. And at the time, I had absolutely no interest in the internet. That would have been a great opportunity to gain some knowledge because I had asked the guy questions, in passing about the internet. And he always seemed free to share his knowledge with me. But I had no interest in it whatsoever. I had my own thing that I was working on at the company, and I was focused so narrowly into one field that it was just like a mule with blinders on. I could see nothing else. But I was not the only one. The man that I worked for, he was working on his doctorate in computer science. And when he left the company, that's when I retired. He formed a company and I went to work for him. And one day I came in, and this was in '95, and I came in and I said, I've got an idea. And he looked up at me, and I said, why don't we start selling books and CDs on the internet? And he looked up at me and went back working on his problem. It wasn't long after that I was watching C-SPAN and heard an interview. I can't think of the guy's name because I just thought of this as I started this video. He was interviewed on C-SPAN, and he was talking about wanting to get a business started, and he decided to start selling books on the internet and formed a company called Amazon.com. There are some extremely talented people on YouTube. And don't you think probably that when Chad Hurley and Steve Chen were pursuing viral videos on the internet, somebody probably laughed at them? There are some extraordinary people out there, talented people. If I had the talent of some of the people on YouTube, I mean, there would be no holding me back. But I don't have that talent. And some of them are so talented that they forget where their niche is at, and they want to branch off in all these, they want to be philosophers and movie producers and all sorts of things when they should stay in their niche. And if I had their niche, I tell you an example of someone who is extremely talented. Now, I may mispronounce this name, but I think it's Tara Naomi. She writes fantastic songs and does a great job presenting that material. And she made herself a famous person, and I think she's been extremely successful with her music and her talent. But she did not branch off into other directions. I mean, she stuck with her forte. And a lot of these talented people, when I hear them want to be philosophers like I'm philosophizing right now, but I don't have that talent. I'm just a person enjoying YouTube and using YouTube to expound on some of my philosophies. But if I had their talent, I mean, I wouldn't have like 8,000 individual profile views. I think I've got like 45,000 video views. If I was as talented as some of these people out here that started out with their niche, and all of a sudden they want to be philosophers and all sorts of things, you know, if you could just take them and say, well, you know, that's why most successful entertainers have a great manager. And an entertainer, I tell you what, an entertainer that wants to manage themselves, or a talented person that wants to manage themselves, is like a person who goes into court and is not a lawyer and wants to defend themselves rather than to hire a great attorney to defend them. That's about the same category, some of these extremely talented people, the direction they're going, when they should back up and say, you know, I'm funny or I can sing, but I cannot philosophize, and I cannot produce records, and I cannot produce movies, you know. But that's why there's only a few people in this world that wind up successful. Out of thousands of talented people, it's only available for a few. And I guess you could call me a wannabe philosopher. You're going to have to forgive me for philosophizing, because what I'm really doing is just having fun on YouTube. But I have a funny suspicion that there's a lot of people listening to me right now saying, Ockteby, you're absolutely correct. I agree with you 100%. And if you happen to be one of those folks, thank you very much for listening. We'll see you. I promise not to philosophize again for a long time. Bye-bye. We'll see you.